$250,000. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. That is a completely life-changing amount of money. And in the high-stakes game we're breaking down today, that exact pile of cash is sitting on a tropical island, just waiting to be claimed. But there's a catch. Getting your hands on it requires surviving a psychological gauntlet that is basically unlike any other.
Which really brings us to the ultimate question. If you had to endure 30 days stranded on a beach, totally isolated from the real world, would you be willing to share that massive cash prize with your ex? Because this isn't just some hypothetical scenario, folks. This is a brilliant, totally twisted social experiment where the lines between genuine romantic reconciliation and, well, cold, hard greed are entirely blurred.
Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into a really fascinating scenario where 6 men are completely blindfolded, dropped on a remote island, and shocked to discover they're all there for the exact same reason, their ex-girlfriend Ashley. The premise is super simple, but absolutely brutal. The men must win Ashley back. If they can just survive 30 days without her eliminating them, they get a shot at that $250,000 prize. So let's unpack the incredible psychological warfare and the intense romantic tension that unfolds.
Section 1. The Love versus Money Trap.
Okay, let's dive into this. The island is an absolute emotional pressure cooker, and it's all because of this rule right here, the ultimatum. You see, whoever's left standing on day 30 doesn't just get the money. No way. They are faced with a massive choice. Split the prize pool with Ashley, or steal the entire amount for themselves. This rule is honestly the genius of the game design because it warps literally every single interaction. Ashley isn't just looking for love anymore. She has to constantly vet these men to ensure they won't ultimately betray her and run off with the cash.
And to keep the pressure dialed all the way up, the game operates on a relentless 5-day elimination cycle. Every 5 days, Ashley literally wields a heavy hammer and smashes a stone heart that represents one of the men, sending them home with absolutely nothing. Brutal, right? I mean, just look at this timeline. Right out of the gate on day 5, Jake is sent packing simply because Ashley sensed she couldn't trust him. The power dynamic is entirely in her hands, and trust me, the men know it.
Section 2. Ashley tests for trust.
As this quote perfectly captures, Ashley is highly aware of the trap she's in. She explicitly states that the guys are going to have to earn her trust. She wants a genuine connection, and she's actively trying to weed out anyone who's just putting on a facade for a quick payday. She literally has a hammer hanging over her ex-boyfriend's hearts. But how do the men actually view this?
Well, juxtapose Ashley's desire for genuine trust with this absolutely chilling private confession Mitchell makes to the cameras. He states clearly that if he gets to the end, he's probably going to take all $250K for himself. From a behavioral psychology standpoint, this is just fascinating. It perfectly highlights the massive disconnect between the public actions the men are performing for Ashley, building her a camp, treating her like a princess, and their hidden, calculated intentions.
Section 3. The Mitchell Curveball.
So Mitchell was actually the man Ashley admitted to having a genuine romantic soft spot for. He seemed like the absolute frontrunner, but let's walk through his fatal errors here. While the other men are completely fawning over her, Mitchell starts complaining about mundane tasks, like having to cook her oatmeal. He gets defensive, telling her that nothing he does is good enough. And most fatally, he openly states he refuses to operate the game with his, quote, feelings. For a woman desperately trying to vet for trust and emotional safety, that is a glaring red flag. So when day 10 rolls around, Ashley shocks the whole camp. She brings the hammer down on Mitchell, telling him to just get back to work. His bizarre dramatic response, telling the guys to count the stars before storming off into the night.
The crucial takeaway here is that Mitchell's departure completely shatters the illusion of safety on the island. Ashley realizes that the longer she's there, the more tapped out of reality she actually becomes. She recognizes this heavy, emotionally draining burden of having to break up the band every 5 days, and she realizes her soft spots can and absolutely will be exploited. This essentially forces her to build her walls way up, which puts all the remaining men on extremely high alert.
Section 4. Desperation and Shifting Alliances.
And this brilliantly illustrates how, as desperation really sets in, the prize money severely warps their interpersonal behavior. Just look at these two contrasting strategies. On one side, we have Danny. He attempts to completely shift the camp alliances, monopolizing Ashley's time with high-energy humor, forced yoga sessions, and just constant attention to essentially box the other guys out. But on the completely opposite end of the spectrum, we have Derek. Derek responds to the stress by isolating himself. He's literally walking laps around the island, overthinking his long-term strategy, and ultimately giving Ashley way too much space, which actually makes her wonder if he even likes her at all.
This shifting dynamic leads to absolute chaos and a series of hilarious yet deeply painful missteps. Unbelievably, the men decide to build a romantic sand pathway for Ashley, but they get so aggressively caught up in the task that they completely ignore her while doing it. Then Logan tries to cook a nice seafood dinner but ruins the whole vibe by complaining that Ashley hates everything. Danny makes this bizarre, passive-aggressive comment about Harry Potter and dramatically threatens to just go home. They're treating this situation like a frantic business transaction rather than a romantic reconciliation. And the result? Well, by day 17, Ashley completely withdraws into what she calls a depression hole.
But what's really happening beneath the surface? Take a look at this admission from Danny. He tells the cameras that he thinks he's playing mental games with every single person there. His strategy of monopolizing Ashley with constant entertainment isn't just about winning her over, it's a super calculated move to actively shift the alliances and push Derek and the other guys away. By taking up literally all the oxygen in the room, he's deliberately making Ashley question if her other exes even care about being there.
Section 5. The final choice approaches. By this point, every single challenge and passing comment carries life-altering financial weight. Which brings us to the pivotal immunity challenge. The men are tasked with swimming way out into the ocean to retrieve bags of puzzle pieces, returning to the beach completely gassed, and then reconstructing a puzzle of Ashley's broken heart. The physical and mental toll here is grueling. But it's Danny, fueled by pure strategic desperation, knowing he was probably next on the chopping block, who outsmarts the others by resting while building. He secures victory, winning a literal caged heart that protects him from the hammer. And that forces Ashley to eliminate Logan instead on day 15.
Now, Danny thinks his Grandmaster plan is working flawlessly, but Ashley actually holds the ultimate trump card. She tells the camera point blank that there is one person she wouldn't trust with one single dollar, let alone $250K, and that is Danny. She sees right through his forced entertainment, she actively distrusts his motives, so despite all his maneuvering to shift the alliances, the money has basically acted as a magnifying glass for his flaws, not a cover for them.
As day 20 finally arrives, the remaining men are forced to stand on balance platforms out over the water. The exhaustion is really setting in. Within seconds, Derek falls, leaving the balance of power teetering on a razor's edge. So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder from today's explainer. If your ex held the keys to $250,000, how far would you truly go to win them back? And when all the strategic games finally fade away, who, if anyone, will actually choose love over cold hard cash?